got to go through everything to understand that it's not good for you. You can see a crackhead over here, nodding out, right? And you can look at him visibly and say, oh, I don't need to try crack. But then you have another person over here. He's like, my pappy did crack, my uncle did crack, my grandmama did crack. Your daughter don't crack, your daughter don't crack, your daughter don't crack. Shit, I might as well hit the pipe too. And guess what? You're a crackhead. Now you on the corner, nodding out.
Warning. If you are one that is easily triggered, click off now. These are cold facts, ugly truths, and my opinion. You've been warned.
First of all, I gotta plug my shit in. I did a video to this. I'm gonna link it, put it in the cards and the description. Check that out when y'all get a chance. So I'm gonna get into it.
Thank you.
Jay, pleasure to meet you. Welcome to the show, and thank you guys for being willing to come here and have this dialogue. I'm sure you guys have gotten a lot of flack, maybe even some backlash and things of that nature from this video going viral.
Well,
Yeah, before we get into it, we're going to take a moment and just relook at that video. It's been a couple of weeks, so a few weeks later, I'm sure you've had some time to think about what you guys discussed in the car. I'm sure you've had some time to think about it. Before I ask you any questions, have you guys had a second date?
no.
No second dates.
Not yet.
Okay. So I'll start with you, Jay.
People out he said not yet. He didn't say not yet. She did.
What has dating been like for you since that video went viral?
Since I was on the video, kind of unexpected, I might not have put my best foot forward, you know? And so I feel like, I've not really met anyone since who I've really gotten to get to know like that, because a lot of women, they might have seen the video or might have heard from it, or maybe a friend of them has seen the video and shares it with them. And so they kind of had this image of me based on the video.
Absolutely.
And it hasn't really helped.
Okay.
Exactly. It's like they might think everything about me is reflected in that video, and I don't think it is. And but yeah, it's been difficult.
Sure.
Well, and it's even before this, you know, dating has already been difficult for me. You know?
I imagine your views kind of clash with what you're looking for and what they're looking for.
Yeah, I think so, because I mean, I think in general my values kind of reflect wanting to build something that lasts.
Yes, sir.
And I want to make sure that anyone that I meet is willing to build a really strong foundation based on our mutual values. And I think it in general, a lot of the people that I meet, either they don't have time to set towards building something like that, or they just don't want to because, you know, they're younger, they want to experience, you know, casual dating or whatever it is. And it's just not something that I'm looking for right now.
Understood. So obviously, guys, Jay's saying that they have they're viewing him in a negative light when it comes to dating. When I saw Jay, I saw someone who was making some excellent points, who knew what he wanted, and he's actually now like a Giga Chad in the manosphere world, in the red pill community. The brother's being mentioned everywhere for the way he handled that conversation. Now I'm going to ask Alicia as well, because during
Before we get into Alicia, shout out to my boy Jay. I believe he handled that specific situation flawlessly. He handled it flawlessly. Like I said in the previous video, at least reason with the person. It's y'all's first date. Your work carried over longer than you anticipated. Y'all had a reservation set, and if you missed the reservation, you have to switch up plans a little bit, right? Being you had him waiting outside for over an hour, I don't think it was hard or it was much to ask that y'all go to an alternative restaurant, and because it was a chain restaurant, you felt offended. As far as him saying that dating has been hard for him, it was hard before the video, and then now post video, he feel like it's just as hard or even harder for him to get a date because the videos went viral and women may have a preconceived notion about you. It's so interesting how people on the internet will see a clip or just see a glimpse of something you've done or may have said, but that does not reflect your entire character. One moment does not reflect your entire character. So you have to be very careful about how you say and do things, because first impressions are often last impressions, right? I have people come on my videos sometimes and they'll see something they don't like or hear something they don't want to hear, and they'll automatically be turned off. It's like, oh, I'm never coming here again, this, that, and the third. Yeah, I understand. My content's not for everybody. And if you're not coming back, obviously it's not for you, bro. I mean, I'm not upset towards them. I understand where they're coming from. But also, in the same token, you can't just watch something 30 seconds. You can't just be around somebody or hear one thing, run with it. Most people are guilty of doing that. They'll have a picture painted of a person and don't take the time to look at the full view. See what I'm saying? Yeah, as he's talking, he seems timid. He seems shy. You know, he seems like he's stumbling over his words, like he's not confident, like he doesn't have confidence. Now, homegirl, I saw a little clip where she said that he approached her. So maybe that is not him all the time. But as of right now, he seems like he's, you know, shy, timid. Most women don't like that. They're like a confident, assertive man. Let's get back into it.
This conversation, Alicia.
Thank
We'll get that right. Okay, so Alicia,
Look
you
at her.
didn't seem to really disagree with what he was saying. Now, you had a definitely a different opinion before he gave you his mind, right? But you seemed very receptive to it. Can you explain to me kind of what you were thinking and how you saw him in that video? Because he's saying they took him in a negative light. What do you think?
Well, yes, I think once we had the conversation, I could see my role in the conflict.
Okay, okay.
Let's back up a little bit. To be fair, I mean, I was always raised that the man is supposed to cater to you. I mean, you're courting me, so court me. That means wherever I want to go, you take me.
Absolutely.
Whatever I want, you buy me. That's courting. You know, I'm looking for a provider. So, but after the conversation, I could see how there was a lot of
Okay.
in that exchange.
Absolutely.
It was I was
Yes, you court females. Wherever you want to go, you take me. No, that is not it. That's not how it goes. Typically, women like when men set the dates. Because I've seen time and time again, I've experienced time and time again, and I've heard women complain about, oh, he never does anything with me. He never has anything planned. Well, I always got to do everything. I always got to set the dates. Always have to pay. Always have to do this, that, and the third. He never plans and takes me anywhere, right? So I think a lot of women, more often than not, would want their man to have something already planned for them. You know, I'm coming to get you such and such time, where such and such, I'm doing such and such. You're more than welcome to come. That right there, that shows assertiveness. That shows initiative. That shows a woman that you know how to take the lead and you know, be in that leadership position, which are what most women want in a man. But a lot of these guys are just like waiting on a woman to do this, that, and the third. And also, a man does not buy you whatever you want, especially when he's first getting to know you. It should be low investment when y'all first getting to know each other, because like you said, this goes both ways. I don't know you like that. You don't know me like that. Why would you expect me to do something or have a certain level of trust or a certain level of comfort in you when you don't even feel it about me? You not my lady, right? And if I said you gonna break me off something, a piece of you, I'd be wrong, right? It's cool when you do it. It's a problem when I do it.
definitely very self-centered, and I can appreciate if I do want someone to provide for me. I at least gotta be a little bit nice.
Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So now I ask you this, based on your idea of dating before your conversation with Jay, how did you grow up? Who also thinks that way? I'm sure you have friends who think that way. I've heard it a lot.
I mean,
Okay, so-
everybody. I mean, that's what he's supposed to be, the provider.
Absolutely.
So, you know, and I'm a beautiful woman, so I'm expecting to be treated like royalty. I mean, come on. So that's
But
what
the
I was
kicker
doing.
is, how do we treat him? And that's
Right,
where the
right.
disconnect was.
Right.
In the video, now of course I'm sure you think of it differently now, but in the video you basically told him that, you're not going in there, you know your value. It would be embarrassing for you to go inside a Cheesecake Factory. A lot of people like Cheesecake Factory.
Oh.
Now, so when I see that video, I'm thinking, okay, she must have some friends who probably would disagree with her going inside a Cheesecake Factory. Your
Yeah.
peer group.
Yeah,
So
I would
peer
never-
pressure probably keeps you from.
Never live that. Oh my God! I would have never lived that down.
Wow,
I
just
mean-
a date the Cheesecake Factory, they wouldn't let you live that down.
No, I have an image to protect. Nikia
Wow.
does not do that. That was, that was my circle though. That's how,
Sure.
that's how we roll.
Sure.
To be quite blunt, that's how we roll. Hypergamy is a big, is a big thing in my circle. It's what we've been taught. Why? As a black woman, I'm gonna go there. As a black woman, we're really tired of having to settle. We want to be treated well. We want that soft life. So that's what I thought I was going after. However, what I understand is a part of having a soft life is being cooperative,
Being soft.
not being combative,
You're
right?
Actually being soft.
Right,
Right.
right.
Being
Never been to the Cheesecake Factory personally. Her angle was it's a chain restaurant. She wanted some, in the cut, reservation, upscale, 3-course meal, exclusive type shit, bougie shit, right? And nothing wrong with that. But cheesecake is no slouch. I had a comment, right? I had some guy comment on my video and he said, homeboy Jay should have took her to Burger King. And I replied, yeah, and he should have got her a crown, one of them paper crowns to go with that ego she got, right? First date, third date, date 20. You always have to be considerate of the other party. You can't just always be self-centered and thinking about yourself. Look at everything from all angles. Put yourself in that person's shoes. Now, she also mentioned hypergamy. Now, I don't know if you guys understand what the word hypergamy means, but hypergamy pretty much means constantly looking for the best option, right? And this is more so for women. Guys may do it too, but this is more of a woman thing. Hypergamous, when you're hypergamous, you're constantly seeking out the best option as far as protection, provisioning, providing. Those are probably the same thing. Best looking, riches, good genetics, all this status. You're looking for, you constantly weighing the Libra scale on who is the better option. Whoever she's with typically is the best option that she has at the moment. At the moment. That's her best choice at that moment. She may stay with that guy and you may look at him and like, she's seeing this dude. But as soon as somebody else comes along that is perceived, he might not even be, just perceived better than she is, or that man is packing her bag, she on first date, or the first door, first flight, first trip, she gone.
receptive, being
Right.
sweet,
Absolutely.
being pleasant, right? Because we do understand the value of resources, but it can't be just something for a lifestyle. A man's resources is not just for a woman's experiences and traveling and the lifestyle they'll live when married. Is for providing for the family and the children. And that's why she should seek a man and, respect his resources or prioritize his resources, not just for what it can do for her.
Right.
Right. And so when you were in the beginning of it, you was just saying, I'm not doing it. It seemed really selfish.
It
right.
was.
And I appreciated that when I saw the video myself. That's one of the things I covered is, wow, I've never seen a woman that receptive to being accountable. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And you were. But Jay, however, didn't want to go out on a date. He wanted to discontinue that date, and he wanted to take it on to the house. Jay, is that your first time stopping a date midway through and going on back home, or?
Yeah, something like that's. I'm sorry, at least. Yeah, that's the first time I've really put my foot down to that kind of extent. But it's not like an isolated incident.
Okay.
I've gone on dates with several people now, even before her, where they had very specific things they were looking for in a boyfriend or whatever, and even within my own circles, right? and that's just not something that I'm looking for, because I was raised like we were talking about how she was raised, whereas with me, like my family, like we've passed down the name for ages, and we're a very close knit, strong family.
You've passed down your first name, Jay? Like
Yes.
your father's and father.
Yeah,
How many
yeah.
generations, probably?
I mean, I couldn't really count it myself.
Wow.
Because I mean, the thing is, like, I'm from India.
Okay.
You know, and the partition happened where, like, India was separated from Pakistan. And a lot of my family were on both sides of that, and we had to come back together.
Wow.
And we had to, it was very important for us to stay strong after the fact. At the time, maybe we didn't care as much about creating this legacy, but ever since, it's like that's been one of the strongest parts of our family, is the importance in creating our legacy. And with that in mind, like, I've grown up with the idea that I want a strong family here now that I'm living in America. The only kind of relationships I seek are ones where that is the only value. That is the biggest value. That is the most important thing for the other person as well as for me.
Wow. That's actually powerful. So your family going through all that they did, it caused you guys to really idealize relationships, right? And
Specifically, relationships that last.
absolutely, absolutely. And so here you are in America dating, and mostly in our culture, where you stated earlier you were a black woman. Of course,
How we do things over here in America, on the west side of the hemisphere, it's like night and day from, I'd say, 90% of the world. 90% of the world, women know how to fucking act, right? Women know how to act. I ain't gonna say they know their place, but they know their place. See what I'm saying? They have strong family values, core values. They pride themselves on building a legacy. Over here, you got one woman, 5 different baby dads, 4 to 5 baby dads not present. You got a whole bunch of fucking kids running around. They're in poverty. They're living in Section 8, eating off the state, got wicked food stamps. Like, it's just a fucking show here, man. It's just a vicious revolving cycle over here in America.
been through some things, right? In our culture here in the States and throughout the whole diaspora, I like using that word. But a lot of times our culture has been stripped, and we haven't yet began to idealize relationships, you know, so we're more so going along with the flow. So here he is in America, and he's meeting a woman who's in America, and she sees dating the way Americans see dating. And so I can see the clash in that.
Yeah.
You know, he's looking at you as if that's selfish. You're looking at him as if, you know, he's treating you beneath your worth, your actual value. So here's what I want to do, guys. I want to go back a bit. Can y'all tell me how y'all met? I want you to tell me how you guys met.
So I was in Midtown, and like I barely even have time to go out with friends and all that. But it was a really close friend's birthday, so I went to get some drinks for the first time in ages, and I saw this beautiful woman, who it seemed like every other guy in the bar was either intimidated by or too shy to talk to, and I thought, what the hell, why not? And she was, you know, minding her own business, and I asked her, you know, her name, Alicia, and I thought that's a beautiful name. And even despite how loud it was in the bar, we were still able to talk a little here and there, and I got her number, and she had to go. And so we kept talking after that for a little bit, and then like a week later, I asked her, "You want to go out? I mean, to this restaurant?"
Yeah.
And I told her it would be a surprise. And maybe that might be a problem on my part. You know, it might have raised the expectations a little bit. But I guess the surprise ended up being Cheesecake Factory, where
Right.
the original surprise was.
I want to get to that. You had something else planned for her, right?
Yeah.
And because of how the evening went, the Cheesecake Factory happened, right?
Yeah.
So
Can I just say before?
Sure.
I love the Cheesecake Factory, and it's a place that I've gone to for like every birthday. So like it wasn't just like a random restaurant to me. It was also like a place that I've gone with my family throughout my entire life, and I love Cheesecake Factory.
So you didn't. So obviously the because you guys were late, she wasn't ready. You weren't able to take her to the restaurant that you wanted to take her to. You figured I can't go wrong with the Cheesecake Factory, right?
Yeah.
Small.
You know, her being American, an American woman, the place held sentimental value to him. So he's like, oh, shit. Well, if all else fails, Cheesecake Factory will prevail. But it backfired.
Old birthday restaurant, you know.
It's my lucky.
She'll love it.
And that's the lucky spot too at the perimeter.
Lucky spot. Okay, we'll come back to that. Well, no, I'm kidding with you.
Okay.
Alicia.
Yeah.
So Jay, you see Jay walking up to you in the bar, say Midtown. He's walking up to you. He's gonna talk with you. There are other guys around you. Did you notice those guys probably want to talk to you? Did you see that? And
Yes, I did.
so what made you say, okay, I'm gonna give this guy a chance? What was it about him?
Well, he was bold enough to come up and talk to me for
Confidence,
one.
okay.
So yes, I definitely am attracted to confidence. He just seemed like he had a pure heart. He was, very thoughtful, engaging. I mean, the only he won me over. He did win me over, but I'm a tall woman, and so there wasn't necessarily like that immediate attraction. But as we began to talk, it was really his heart that made me say, I'll give this guy a try.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that where you draw your line? Is that typically you don't date guys who are guys have to be at least your height or taller before you would date them?
Exactly.
Okay. Okay, I understand that. That probably makes it difficult finding someone suitable for yourself. You are what, 6'1", 6?
I'm almost 6'1", yes.
Almost 6'1". Wow. So that means, let's see, 14.5% of men are at least 6 feet, right? But that next 2 inches for you to find someone taller than you, that's 3.6% of men in the entire world that are tall enough that are they're at least 6'2".
I know.
Is that discouraging?
I mean, I only need one. I only need to.
You need one, but he needs to be that height. He needs to make the resources, right?
Yeah.
He needs to be funny. He needs to be charismatic. He needs to be disciplined. And that doesn't discourage you? Like,
I'm an optimist. But no.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like
But
it.
no.
They have this check list, and they want to say, I'm optimistic. God's going to send me this, that, and the third. And it's like, you're hoping that some divine power is going to send you something that you are not willing to compromise on. You're not going to get this perfect specimen shipped to your doorstep, right? You have to actively be looking for it. I'm going to say that again. You're not going to get this perfect specimen shipped to your doorstep. You have to actively be looking for it. And you have to be willing to compromise on some things. Now, what that is up to you.
I mean,
An optimist.
the logically speaking, I understand what you're saying. I've heard this many times, but I haven't given up on I hadn't given up on that. But I'm actually open. I really enjoyed our conversation, so I would consider.
Well, sure, and I was going to commend you for that. I didn't see it as I know you're saying that they have to be that height, but it seems that you are willing to, make an exception, just like you did for Jay here when he walked up and he had the confidence of a 6'2" man. You were willing to at least hear what he had to say, and that's a good thing, because it may not be the cookie cutter thing that you plan out. So if we're going to look for a happy relationship, a harmonic one that gives our children and our lineage what they need for years and generations to come, right? We may have to make an exception or two, right?
Yeah. Sometimes it's not what we want; it's what we need, and we have to be more open to what we need.
That's absolutely true. I was going to say, when it comes to how we date, I think a lot of it is just the information that we have, right? So what I noticed from yours and Alicia's conversation, Jay, is that you had a different view of altogether of what dating should look like leading up to a relationship, and she had a different view. And now,
like, what I should say is, I mean, at the very end of the day, like, I understand dating in America is different from where my family's from, and in a way, like, it's perfectly fine. to have those views and to think of dating differently. I just think, for me, I have a very specific criteria, and it's not a long list of criteria, but it's just certain values that I
Sure. Well, I think a lot like you. That's why the video stood out to me. I believe relationships should be harmonic. They should be for a reason. So I believe in dating with intent, right?
Yeah.
But many people in our generation today, they see dating as something that's just fun. They don't see it as a way to establish a healthy relationship. And that's what I was going to say. There's almost little to no understanding as to what dating should look like when you're trying to establish an intent for a meaningful relationship. And I think that's the biggest problem. It's not so much that people are necessarily selfish or entitled. It's more so that they don't know what they're looking for, right?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Oftentimes we think we know, but we really don't.
Right, right. So when he asked you the question, you expect men to go all out on a date, huh? You said absolutely. If he likes her, he should present that, right?
Yes.
He should lead and be masculine. He should be willing to pay for the meal, show up on time, open doors for her, the whole nine. But when he asked you, what does a woman expect you to do? You said, look good, be there. And that's where the, right?
Disconnect was. Yeah.
Absolutely. Because there should be things that a woman should do, right? So if you've thought about that, could you tell me some of what you think now, if he were to ask you that question today?
Sure. If you think about, watching the video, it's like, how do you expect this person to keep giving, and you're not giving anything back? So now we're depleted.
Absolutely.
And so who's going to pour into him?
Wow.
So, I mean, if you truly do want that type of protection provider, there has to be some balance.
Absolutely.
So.
Wow, that's very powerful. I actually took the liberty to make a list of things that men and women should look for in each other on a date, right? I'm gonna read them to you. I want you guys to tell me what you think of in the end, okay? Let's start with what you're looking for in a man, okay? So what a woman looks for in a man is respect and courtesy. Would you say I'm wrong? Confidence, right?
Yeah.
Communication skills,
Absolutely.
knowing what he wants, where he's going with it, right?
Yes.
Initiative, taking the initiative, chivalry,
Yes.
okay? Resilience,
Yes.
right? So even when you being a little bit, hard to get, he can push past that, right? The resilience. Generosity,
Yes.
okay? So here are the behaviors that look good to a man when he's looking for a woman. I'm going to ask you the same questions. You tell me if you like the sound of that. Men are looking for kindness, right? You want her to be really kind, really sweet, right? Pleasant. So what about active listening?
Yeah.
And you said when she got in the car, she was putting the makeup on and she wasn't really responding to you or responsive to you.
Yeah.
You took from that she didn't like you much.
Yeah.
Right. Encouragement. And,
Yes,
and you said that, being able to pour back into him, right? Positivity, right? So not being negative, having a smile on your face, right? Respect for independence.
Yeah.
Okay. Adaptability. Okay. There was this time where you wanted her to hold your arm, right? And walk you so you could walk her to the car, and she didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
You expressed to her that you didn't like that. And that made you feel like, of course, when her not being on your arm, how can you truly protect her, right? But also her not doing that says she ain't really feeling me like that.
Yeah.
She don't really like me like that.
And, I get, it was a first date. Maybe she's not at that stage yet. But
I get that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Question. Let's just say you're out with him, right? You're on a date with a guy and some guy comes up, takes your purse. Do you want your date to have your back?
Yeah.
So
He has to protect me.
and even if he's not ready for that yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he shouldn't even ask you on a date if he's not going to protect you or something would have happened to you. This is why you should take his arm. You see? So it may feel like
Exactly. Exactly. You want this man to risk his life if need be. Put his life on the line for a woman he doesn't even know. But you don't feel comfortable enough to let him inside your home while you will had him waiting for an hour and even take this man's arm to walk you to the car. Tell me, make that make sense.
I'm giving this guy too much of me, but it's more like I'm being cooperative to the roles that we're playing. He's going to protect me if something happens right now. And so I'm going to stand close to him. This lets the people on the outside looking in know that I'm with this man. He is taking care of me. We're out together, right?
It's like it kind of shows that you trust.
Absolutely.
I think I felt like
Trust is a big
What women get out of a date is a free bodyguard. Because if anything goes wrong with her, he has to really put his life on the line for her. Mm-hmm. So if a man asks you out on a date, you shouldn't say, I'm not ready to hold your hand. I know that seems like a move forward in a relationship, so to speak, but it's actually just part of a date. Your goal is to give him an example of what it would look like if you were his partner, and his goal is to do the same. Yeah. So to a man, you not doing those things makes it appear that you're not that interested.
Definitely not ready to be a partner, I guess.
It also,
like I said, it's common courtesy. Take the man's arm. You want him to open your door, but holding your arm is crossing the line. But yet, Rob will come up with a 4-5, got the nuts out, ready to blow your back, your muffin back blue. Oh, you want him to step in front of you and take the fall, right? Or get your purse back if you take off with it. I take it.
Kills his ability to be completely masculine for you on that date, because if you won't take his arm, then, you know.
I feel like when you just said, like, trust is a big word, it is a big word. But maybe the way I saw it is when you wanted to go out with me at all, that was you trusting me.
Right.
And it did kind of hurt a little bit. I mean, again, I can respect boundaries, but it did still at the same time hurt my feelings if you didn't trust me.
And of course, as men, we're going to try to be receptive to that and understand where you're coming from. But it does kind of limit his ability to do his full, to be his full masculine self in that capacity, right?
Yeah.
The last thing I had here was intellectual stimulation, right? So we like when a woman can respond back and be attentive, right? Yeah. Have a good conversation, right? We look for that in women. And I definitely think she appeared to have that. You guys started off on it was a little difficult conversation, but it seems like she understood you. She was receptive to what you were saying. Is that typical for you?
Well, typically a lot of the girls that I met, as I said, like, they're literally only trying to date to date or to, like, have, I don't know, I'm allowed to use the word buddy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. We're in hookup culture.
We're in a hookup culture, exactly. And so, like, they're just looking for that. And so it's like, sometimes it's not necessarily about the values or anything like that. Maybe it's like more small talk, maybe, and maybe sometimes it feels like it's something that'll take more time to get her to open up or something like that. Where at the end of the day, they don't want a second date because we haven't gotten to know each other. And that to me sounds so irritating because you didn't want to get to know, we didn't get to know each other because they wouldn't want to talk.
Absolutely.
So it's like,
I completely understand. So
yeah, this guy, he's a through and through gentleman, right? Most guys will get on the date these bitches and be like, man, I'm just trying to smash, I'm trying to hit her, and I'm trying to quit her, you feel me? I'm trying to just beat that ass up, skate that ass up, and skate on out of here, right? And like he said, this is what these women that he's meeting, this is what they were into. This is what they were looking for, right? They won't look for nothing serious. To most guys, that is the ideal woman, especially when you're younger. I don't know how old Jay is. He don't seem that old. But a lot of guys be like, man, yeah, that's what the I want too. Yeah, right? Part like a rock star. But no, he wants more than that. He's like, I don't want to just be your buddy. I want to be it for everybody. Face ass. No, I'm playing. Well, let's get back into it.
As a man dating with intent, you're ending up in these situations where a lot of times you're in hookup culture. And so you're not getting a second date out of it. Meanwhile, here you are, you have spent your money, you spent time with this person who you're never going to likely see again. Yeah. Right? Women oftentimes are looking at dates as what they can get out of them, right? An experience, right? Take me to a nice restaurant. I want the ambiance. I want the treatment, right? And with no intent of doing anything special for the guy after the date. So it's almost like it's almost like she's getting over on him, right? Like she's using him for meals. And that's what men say, I'm not going to keep taking these women out if they don't like me. Don't go out if you don't like me, because then it wouldn't end up where he's on the outside looking into the thing. And what do women say oftentimes when he's upset? I took you to this restaurant, I did that, and now you don't want to get close to me, you're not ready. And she's like, well, you wanted to do it. She will let him spend, knowing she's not interested in this man. Do you feel that that's wrong?
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you, bro. I will dry your pockets up. It never happened to me, but I see what these videos I do and how girls are in general. I've heard and I've seen a smart man learns from his mistakes, but a wise man learns from others' mistakes, which means you don't got to go through everything to understand that it's not good for you. You can see a crackhead over here, now I know, right? And you can look at him visibly and say, oh, I don't need to try crack. But then you have another person over here, he's like, my pappy did crack, my uncle did crack, my grandmama did crack. Your daughter don't crack, your daughter don't crack, your daughter don't crack. Shit, I might as well hit the pipe too. And guess what? You're a crackhead. Now you want a corner, not no. A vicious cycle. But those are the two types of people in this world. You see it and realize you don't want to be a part of that, or you see it and realize that you have no choice but to be a part of that.
No, I don't like users. So, I mean, I do think I think that we're all adults and there's enough of every type out here to where that's not even necessary. Like there are men that really will just spend money on you.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's a certain type. There's things that go with that, but there are, men that'll just spend money on you and are okay with that. But
what do you take from that type of man? If you don't mind me asking, we call that a simp, and we call that a simp when a man
Simp, trick, sugar daddy. There's a lot of things we want to call him.
and is willing to buy you anything, take you anywhere, and you haven't actually earned that from him with your affection or just being there for him in general. How do you see that?
If women are being really honest, I don't think most women actually respect a man that is like that. And I think there's two different types. There's the ones that will spend money on and they're objectifying the woman and she's just like a toy for them.
Right.
And then there's the ones that really are
trying to buy his way in, just trying his best to earn any type of affection from her.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of those men, there's a lot of those women who allow that to happen, right? So that's why I take what Jay doing here as being something that is great for men everywhere, okay? He knew his...
Yeah, what Shorty said? Men that shell off money on these women, that trick off on women, are not respected. Usually are not respected by these women. That's coming from a woman. And she is 100% correct. Once you open that door and step through it, that you are a type of way, you can't close it back. You can only go forward. There's no backwards. After they see you in that light, oh, you're forever sealed as a simp. You forever sealed as a trick.
Worth, you are a beautiful woman. But he said, you know what? I'm just going to take her home. I don't have to do this. Yeah. Even to the point when you said, I will go eat with you at Cheesecake Factory. He saw it as, I would have set aside the date, right? Us being late to that reservation. You're not holding my hand. You're not talking to me in the car. But it seems that you pulling out that camera really, really got to him. Do you mind telling me what you probably took by that? You're just on a date and all of a sudden now she's recording you?
A lot of times, if I'm the one asking a girl out, that's me already offering to pay for the meal, right? That's me already being okay with that, right? But her recording me did feel like that's where I felt like she was trying to take advantage. She was trying to and maybe you had a different view on it, but it felt like at the time that you were just trying to get food, like a free meal from a fancy restaurant, and then you get content from me too to post on YouTube, Facebook.
And you get your reputation ran through the mud. So it's all be done at your expense, right? Now, that wasn't your take. You have many groups where you encourage women on dating. Y'all talk about dating. Right. And this was something that you said, look, y'all see a lot of dates go wrong. Right. So based on your mindset, you really felt like he was taking you somewhere beneath your value. Yeah. And you were saying, I'm going to show the world how you're treating me, right? Can you tell us a bit about that so he knows that, it wasn't to embarrass you, it wasn't to, get content, any of that. It was I felt wronged in that scenario. You mind?
No, I did. I felt like you didn't see my value. And in that moment, I felt like I needed the support of my viewers in that moment. But and not only that, like he said, I discuss relationships and things like that. So I thought that that was a good opportunity for me to kind of have that conversation and see, like, what does everybody else think? I wasn't really taking your feelings into consideration. I wasn't trying to be necessarily malicious or anything like that.
I understand.
Good. I'm gonna say this, guys, to end this video, okay? In a world with hookup culture, not having much understanding on relationships based on how we're raised, and then you got social media with the instant gratification and making it so easily to meet people and replace people. Dating has gotten, it's like a thing that's lost to us. I want to ask these two beautiful people here a question. They had one date that went bad. They have not went on a date since that day, right? Now, would you guys be open to another date, knowing what you know now?
I think if we were able to find a way to get our values more in the center, I could see us trying again.
I mean, yeah, I would be willing to go out on a date again.
Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. Listen, we want to keep up with this first date. Actually, we're going to take care of this first date. It's going to be on us. So we're going to send you somewhere just like they used to do on all those other talk shows. We're going to take care of it. And then we'll reach back to you guys in a couple of weeks and find out how that's going. How does that sound?
I'd love
to see what you guys are up to.
As long as it's not the cheesecake now.
Oh.
She is funny, man.
Yeah.
I believe 90% of all problems amongst people is just miscommunication. People have a miscommunication, does not understand what the other person meant, and how people interpret words how they want to interpret them. Somebody can say things and not mean it one way, but the tone, it has a certain expression to their actions, the way they say it will make it come off as if they are meaning something. They really didn't mean to offend or hurt anybody's feelings, but it just came off that way. So now this other person is feeling it some type of way, and then it just escalates from there usually. She pulls her camera out and he automatically thinks, oh, you got your camera out on me. Oh man, you trying to make a spectacle of me. I could deal with you being late an hour. I could deal with you not holding my arm, but you pulling your camera out and now you're trying to make a spectacle of me. All right, you got to end this date now. And had he continued that date, she would not have respected him after that. Right? But him putting his foot down, being assertive, he was a perfect gentleman. Didn't cuss, didn't raise his voice not one time to this woman. That was a test, and he passed that test. I don't know, but I do know one thing though. Make sure y'all down your eyes across the T. Your boy Alex. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments. Catch y'all on the next one.